Chinese President Xi Jinping is now in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, after meeting with leaders in Serbia and Poland. The Chinese President and Serbian Prime Minister Aleksandar Vučić signed more than 20 finance and infrastructure deals in Belgrade. Beijing has been participating in a number of projects in the region, including a new rail link between Belgrade and Hungary's capital Budapest, hoping to transport Chinese goods into Central and Eastern Europe. President Xi Jinping also met with employees at a Serbian steel mill recently purchased by China's Steel and pledged China's support of Serbia joining the European Union. In Warsaw, President Xi and Polish President Andrzej Duda welcomed the arrival of a Chinese freight train showcasing the European country's importance as a gateway for Chinese exports. Poland is China's largest partner in Central and Eastern Europe. Some 40 deals were signed related to construction, energy and new technologies. China urged Poland to take advantage of its position as a founding member of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. President Xi is wrapping up his tour in Uzbekistan with Uzbek President Islam Karimov. China and Uzbekistan upgraded their ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership. The two countries are working together on agriculture and energy projects. President Xi is in Tashkent for the start of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Joining us now from Beijing is Xu Hongjian. He's the Director of the Department of European Studies at the China Institute of International Studies. Also with us in our Washington, D.C. studio is Mizohid Rakhimov. He's a visiting Fulbright Scholar at the Central Asia Caucasus Institute in Washington. From Shanghai, we're joined by Alexius Li. He's the head of China Industrial Research at one of Asia's leading investment banks and follows China's One Belt, One Road initiative. We're also joined by Saurabh Gupta. He's a resident senior fellow at the Institute for China-America Studies right here in Washington, D.C. And thanks to all of you for joining us. Xu Hongjian, let me start with you, and let's start with President Xi Jinping's visit to Serbia. These two countries, of course, have been close allies for a very long time. President Xi said during that visit that he's looking to Serbia to play a significant role in Beijing's ambitious plan for a new Silk Road. Let's take a listen to some of what the president had to say.
With around 60 countries, China is realizing a project, One Belt, One Road, and cooperation with Central and Eastern Europe, including Serbia. Serbia finds itself in a strategically important position with advantages compared to other countries in the region, and will certainly play an important role in this project.
So, Xu Hongjian, how do you think Serbia will lead the way in this One Belt, One Road project?
Yeah, exactly. We can find out some reasons for the question why both China and Serbia regard Serbia will have a very leading role in this project. I mean, the Belt and Road Initiative. Firstly, I think that both two countries enjoyed this very, very long time and good relations. Just like Mr. Xi mentioned, it's a kind of a war-weather, relations or friendship. And of course, once there will be a very, very good political environment, so certainly there will be more confidence for both two countries to have some more cooperation in the future. And secondly, how about this geographic position of Serbia in this Belt and Road Initiative? Of course, Serbia is a very important Balkan state, and it could play a very, very, I think, big influence in this region, and also it's near to Asia. So I think it could play as a bridge between Europe and Asia. And also, certainly, there will be some, very, very great requirement from Serbia to join into this Belt and Road Initiative, especially in some infrastructure, transportation projects, because it's a, inland country. It needs some, exit to the sea.
Mayor, let's talk about Uzbekistan. Here's a country in Central Europe. It's just completed the longest rail tunnel in that part of the world. How does a project like the One Belt, One Road initiative fit in with what Uzbekistan is doing?
Well, we can look from three perspectives. The first is Angred-Pab Railway. It is first of very important national project which is connecting the central part of the country with the Fergana Valley, which is 1/3 of population of Uzbekistan. But plus the railway is direct connecting the two regions, plus it goes through the high mountain region. And here it is a good example of how the Chinese and Uzbeks working together. The general project costs more than 1 billion, and 350 millions come from the China's Exim Bank, and China companies created two tunnels. One of the tunnels is more than 10 miles, and it is one of the unique in Central Asia, in CIA countries. So this is important from national connectivity. Second is, it's very important for China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan trade partnership. In this regard, of course, these links will be very important. And in third perspective, we can see there is continuation of Central Asia, China, and further partnership within other Asian and European countries. So this will be a very important link.
Right. Let's bring in Alex. He's in Shanghai. Alex, another important country that the president visited, Poland, which of course is a member of the European Union, and it's also a member of the Chinese-led Asia Infrastructure and Investment Bank. How important is Poland to China's One Belt, One Road initiative?
I think Poland plays a very important role in the entire One Belt, One Road, being one of the key destinations. There's also linking the Chinese-Asian market into the European market. So, yeah, I think Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, is definitely one of the key status to help fundings in that region. Yeah.
Surab, you know, everywhere that China is moving in the world right now, we hear about its involvement in infrastructure development. And looking at this particular visit by President Xi Jinping, are we likely to see China sign deals on a lot of infrastructure projects in Central Europe, in countries like Poland, in Uzbekistan, and Serbia? Also, what does that tell us about how China is positioning itself in the region?
Yes, a lot of this has to do with infrastructure projects, big-ticket infrastructure projects. The Chinese are going about this in a very intelligent way. Let me take this debate in a slightly different direction. You know, Central Europe has been a location which has continuously, in some way or the other, being fought over. There are many political, historical fractures in that region. It was the locus of Cold War contestation, etc., etc. China isn't coming to Central. I'm talking Central Europe. China isn't coming to Central Europe as a party which is playing on old historical fault lines. It is seeing it as one compact unit and working with all countries on infrastructure projects to build connectivity so that they can all develop together and all prosper together. That says a lot about how China is going about its new model of international relations. And of course, Belt and Road and infrastructure and win-win cooperation is at the forefront of this. So I think from that perspective, it says a lot. Yes, big-ticket projects are happening. Connectivity is happening, but that is not just happening in isolation. It is China trying to enter these markets and trying to be a promoter of stabilizing economic win-win solutions. And I think that is an important point to take away.
Right, Xu Hongjian, let's look at China's involvement, economic involvement in Poland. We have a country like Poland, which is very keen to increase its exports, especially agricultural exports to China. Those exports amounted to something like $2 billion last year. Now we have another situation which has developed where Russia has closed its doors to European food imports. So does this open further the market for China?
Yes, as we know, this Apple issue, I mean, more agricultural products exported to China from Poland is joint efforts by both two countries to deal with, firstly, how about this issue of trade imbalance between China and Poland? Because as we know, always it's a very big concern from Polish side is China needs to import more products from Poland. And of course, secondly, it's also a requirement from Polish side to look for some new market once there is no market in Russia and so on. But I think that firstly, we could not just depend on the apple or some other agricultural products to deal to resolve this issue of trade imbalance between China and Poland. I think that maybe for some other sectors or other products, especially from Polish side, they need to have some more, products, some more capacity. And of course, secondly, I think once there are more and more agricultural products from Poland to China, certainly I think it's a good thing, I think, for China, for Chinese market, because as we know, now Chinese market is open as possible. But of course, I also need to remind something is, firstly, we need to take care of how these relations between those imported Polish apples and the local agricultural products.
Right.
And also, secondly, how is this competition between in Chinese market? Because as we know, now we can also taste American apple in Beijing.
Yeah.
So I think that certainly for Polish side, they need to have some, high quality agricultural products in China.
Okay. Mir, if we look at Poland, China's involvement in Poland, its investments in Poland, Poland, of course, is a member of the European Union. Does China see more benefits in investing directly into a country like Poland rather than going through the structures of the European Union in Brussels?
Actually, from the international relation perspective, bilateral relation all the time very effective, much easy to do. Of course, China is pursuing its long and old tradition to have good relation, long relation with all countries of the world. And Poland is not exception, Central Asian country is not exception. In this regard, we could say that in particular from Central Asia perspective, Central Asia and China has a long historical and present very active political economic dialogue. So in this case, of course, sometimes bilateral relation more effective. The same policy pursued by Uzbekistan to have all the time try to approach bilateral relation, which is much easier to do without all these formalities.
Alex, China now has one of the biggest railway manufacturing companies in the world, and that company has a very strong focus on exports. How competitive has China become in the development of railway infrastructure in the countries of Central Europe?
Well, if you ask me about the railway investment, I would say that China probably is currently in the world the best railway construction consortiums is all in China. So if you look at the entire framework of how much railway rollouts, how many kilometers have been rolled out over the last 20 years, I think 90% of that is all in China. In terms of the train system and also the train capital goods equipment, China probably does not or is still 5-10 years away from the world's best technology, but is catching up really quickly because that's where we have seen dramatic implementation, maintenance, and real hands-on the rail projects in China. So right now, if you ask me, I think China probably would be able to offer the best in class in terms of construction and probably very valuable money in terms of the train system that it can provide.
Surab, we know that China is transitioning to a new economic model right now, one that is based more on consumers in China rather than manufacturing and exports. How does China's global investment strategy complement that new domestic economic model?
Yes, it complements it from the perspective that currently there is in many of these sectors in China overcapacity. And it does make sense, particularly with that overcapacity and with the technology and with the operationalization skill that the Chinese have to take these goods, to take these products overseas and export them. So from that sense, it's a perfect fit. I would hesitate, though, to put too much emphasis on this. This is not just a strategy just to take care of overcapacity in domestic industries. This has much more broader, well thought out ramifications and connotations from the Chinese end. And as I had previously mentioned, the whole purpose of win-win cooperation is at the forefront of President Xi's model of not just major power relations, but just broader international relations. And from this perspective, I think these strategies fit.